I'm sure we members of this meeting can record them separately.
Okay, so what are we going to do now?
Okay, sir, you can start.
I can start, right?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Hello, good evening, everybody. I want to use this opportunity to welcome you all to this session we are having this evening. Though some of our friends are having technical glitches, but I believe they will meet us along the way. All right. So let's just start with a brief history about oil and gas in Nigeria for a while. Well, oil exploration in Nigeria itself started around, I think, 1908, thereabout. But the first successful discovery was in 1956 at Oloibiri, in the present-day Bayelsa State, by Shell Darcy. That's a subsidiary of Shell. So now, with the discovery of oil, we all understood that after independence, Nigeria was heavily reliant on agriculture. But with the discovery of oil in Nigeria, around the 1970s, Nigeria made a major shift. That's shifting from the agricultural reliant economy to the oil reliant economy. So we're now relying more on oil than agriculture. Now, with all these changes, this prompted Nigeria to join OPEC in July 1971 as its 11th member. Now, to manage all these things, sure you understand, Nigeria, we needed something like a company or like a government organization that will look over all these things happening in the oil sector. Though we had the Ministry of Petroleum and Energy Resources then, but we needed a separate entity to manage all these things. I don't know if you all can hear me.
Yes,
Please,
sir.
thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, all right. So now, looking for something like this. So on the 1st of in 1971, then we had the Nigerian National Oil Company. This was the first federal government created parastatal that was Yes, I can hear you.
I just reached out to Noah. Actually, the issue is
It's unable to join because
it has exceeded the number of people that would be
okay. Okay, I guess some people are leaving now. You should try and rejoin again. Then I'll tell someone beside me here to also leave the meeting, since we are going to record, so we should be able to help us record better. But I guess we already have someone recording too.
No problem.
All right, thank you. So in 1971, the federal government created the Nigerian National Oil Company, which was in charge of the oil activities in Nigeria then. But due to one thing or the other, inconsistencies and some other things, so the Nigerian National Oil Company (NNOC) and the Federal Ministry of Petroleum and Energy Resources had a merger, which was successful on the 1st of April 1977. So that merger gave birth to what we knew as NNPC. So please take note of what I was my tone, what we knew, because NNPC has now changed to NNPCL. So if you can hear me, but I will still get to that point. So this merger gave birth to what we knew as NNPC. So first thing we should take note is NNPC was created 1st April 1977. So now, on the creation of NNPC, the NNPC was given the mandate to regulate the oil sector, manage exploration, and ensuring Nigeria stakes in JVs, which is joint ventures, and PSCs, that is production sharing contract with international oil companies. You know, as at that time, should I say we don't have the technology to do the exploration as at that time. So what the government did was invite IOCs, that's international oil companies, into the country and sign what we call JVs, that's joint ventures. They do these things together, or PSCs, that's production sharing contract. So now, along the way, after 1977, we all know Nigeria. We all know of the corruption and everything during the military regime and some other things that were happening back then. So due to all these inefficiencies, then NNPC was now decentralized and restructured into subsidiaries, removing it as a single entity, as we used to have it then. So you understand? So it became more decentralized, that they gave they started creating subsidiaries, different subsidiaries with different functions, different rules, and different management. Then we had a central management. So now, the restructuring of NNPC and creation of new subsidiaries started around the 1980s, with I think around 8 to 9 subsidiaries being created. Now, some of the subsidiaries that were created then around the 1980s, we had the Nigerian Petroleum Exploration and Exploitation Company. We have the Nigerian Petroleum Refining Company, Kaduna, Nigerian Petroleum Refining Company, Warri, Nigerian Petroleum Refining Company, Port Harcourt. We have the Nigerian Petroleum Products, Pipelines and Depot Company. We have the Nigerian Gas Company. We have the Nigerian Petroleum Marine Transportation Company. We have the Petroleum Research and Engineering Company, and so on and so forth. Now, this was the first subsidiaries we had in NNPC. So as time went on, they started creating more subsidiaries. I think around the 1990s to around early 2000s or so. That was when we had subsidiaries like Pipelines and Product Marketing Company, the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, that's NPDC, then Integrated Data Services Limited. So now, everything I've said up to this point was the history of NNPC from 1977 down to, that's like just like summary of what was happening in NNPC from 1977 till late 2020, early 2021. So you understand? Because around 2020, 2021, the president had sent a bill to the National Assembly, which was then the Petroleum Industry Bill. But the bill was passed on the 16th of August 2021, which made it
We can hear you. Someone hearing him, please.
No, I think
I think it might be having a mic speaker issue or something like that.
this call.
people should remove all these things, make we feel like this. Hello guys, sorry, please can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I can.
Sorry, I had a call which broke the traffic, the service or something like that. Sorry. So everything I said up to this point was what was happening in NNPC down till 2020, 2021. So in 2020, 2021, the then president Muhammadu Buhari was working on what we call the Petroleum Industry Bill, about how to reshape the Nigerian petroleum industry and whatever was happening inside the Nigerian petroleum industry then. So now this bill passed through the first reading, second reading, third reading, was passed in the National Assembly. Then the president himself assented on the bill in 16th August 2021, which now made that bill an act. Now, this bill itself had a major reform in the oil sector, because one of the major things that bill seeks to achieve was converting NNPC into a limited liability company, or which we now know as NNPC Limited. Before it was Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. Now, because of that bill, changing NNPC into a limited liability company, we now have what we call NNPCL today, which is Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. Now, this restructuring was done to make NNPC a commercial entity. Now, when I mean a commercial entity, it means its sole goal now is for profit and sustainability, with no direct or indirect influence from the government, meaning that it's not funded by the government again. The NNPC will fund itself, look for profits in itself. You understand? Now, this bill also seeks to place NNPC in the international market to be able to compete with its international competitors. Like we've all heard of Saudi Aramco or Petronas, owned by Malaysia. So these are all federal government companies by other countries, but should I say existing as private entities. So now, with the Petroleum Industry Act, NNPC was reformed from a government entity into a private entity, though it is fully owned by the government, because the Ministry of Finance has 50% share stake in NNPC, and the Ministry of Petroleum Resources also have 50% share. So it is still owned by the government, but now it's not directly controlled by the government, because it is acting on its own. It is not submitting any budget to the National Assembly for ratification or anything again. So they are creating their own money, and they are using their own money and remitting whatever profit they want to remit to the government. Now, another thing is, remember when I said in 1977, when NNPC was created, NNPC had a mandate to do what? To regulate the Nigerian oil sector and ensure and also ensure and manage the exploration and some other things that has to do with the JVs and PSCs that Nigeria was involved in then. Now, but with the advent of this PIA, this Petroleum Industry Act, NNPC was stripped of its power to regulate. Now, this PIA actually gave birth to two new industry regulators, which is the NUPRC, that's the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Corporation, and also NMDPRA, the Nigerian Midstream Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Now, NUPRC is regulating for the upstream, the NMDPRA is regulating for both the downstream and midstream. You understand? So now all these started around 2021, late 2021. Now, with this restructuring, now all the subsidiaries we had before, some were created new, some were merged together. A lot of subsidiaries, some of them were merged together to get a new subsidiary. Sure, you understand? Because presently now we have 20 subsidiaries in NNPC with the Research, Technology and Innovation business unit. Sure, you understand? So you can call it 21, but basically it's like 20 then plus that one. Sure, you understand? You can check that on their website too. Now, some of the subsidiaries that changed, let me just give you slight examples. You understand? We have the NPDC, which was the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, now became what we know as the NNPC Exploration and Production Limited. That is NEPL. Now, the national sorry, please give me a minute. Hello, can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Okay, so we have another subsidiary. I think the NNPC Petroleum something like that, NAPIMS or something like that. I can't remember. That one changed to what we have as National Petroleum Investment Management Services. That is the NUIMS. So you understand? Now, we have about 3 or more subsidiaries also changed to what we have and what we call NSAF today. That is NSAF as we know it. That is NSAF as we know it as the NNPC Energy Services Limited. Now, some of the subsidiaries that came together to form NSAF, we have the Integrated Data Services Limited, IDSL, the NNPC Oilfield Services, NOFS, Frontier Exploration Services, FES, and some other subsidiaries all came together, so you understand, to form NSAF. Now, NNPC as itself did not become a limited liability company August 2021. You know, with this new bill, it will undergo strategic changes internally before it can meet the Companies and Allied Matters Act of 2010. That is the act that is guiding all limited liability company in Nigeria. So NNPC became a full-fledged commercial entity on July 2022. Now, with this, it means that NNPC is no longer under the control of the federal government. NNPC is a for-profit company of its own, meaning that it does not have the federal government do not need to fund it again. It will source its own money and create profit for the federal government. So you understand. So that is just what we have, like a brief history of NNPC. So before we move ahead, I don't know if you have any, maybe for the next maybe like 1 or 2 minutes, if you have any question, can we just trash that out? Because I think this session will be ending in 7 minutes before we now join for a new time. Then we continue from there. Is there any question? Please, if you have any question, you can raise your hand. So, is there any question? Do we have anybody that has any question? Okay, Miss Juliet Joseph. Can you hear me? Juliet Joseph.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, please, ma, what's your question?
I do have a question.
I can see your hand is raised here. Okay, Blessed Bank.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay. My question is, I didn't get you when you said an NNOC in 1st of April 1977. They had a merger with a federal body to become NNPC.
Okay, so basically, NNOC is Nigerian National Oil Company. Now,
Okay.
when Nigeria wanted to enter OPEC in July 1971, we needed like a federal government parastatal that will be looking over the oil and gas operation in Nigeria. So that was when NNOC was formed in 1971. Now, NNOC was formed 1971, but NNPC itself was formed 1st April 1977. That's a merger between the Federal Ministry of Petroleum and Energy Resources and NNOC. Those two federal government bodies coming together was what gave birth to what we knew as NNPC. Have I answered your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Adenusi Emmanuel.
So shall I?
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is, I wasn't in the first class. Okay, so I just joined today, and my question is that all this history that you mentioned, like where can we like get the source? You know? Do you get my point?
Yes, sure.
Where can we
See,
get all this?
all
Or is this class recorded? Or is there like maybe any recording of the previous class where we can like get all the history from? Because the way you are talking,
This,
you are very
Mr.
fast, as if
Salaudin, can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you, sir.
did you get my question, sir?
Yeah, I got your question, Mr.
Okay.
No, I can hear you.
Yeah, so basically the issue I have from here now is that we have a lot of participants here, like 100 people joined. And the recording I was doing cut off. In fact, it even logged me out. I don't know. And I was even trying to join back. It was not going through. So this session is not being recorded, though I was able to record my parts before the network went off. But
Okay.
as of your own parts, it is not recorded. So I was even trying to go live on YouTube, but there are some certain settings I need to do, so it really take a lot of time. So for the other link, we have 3 more minutes. So I want to try to lock the other link so that I will be able to admit you guys in and see
Okay.
if I can still have full access, like full monitoring of that link. Because I don't know, I can't even take any record. I have to join my phone now. I can't take any record
Okay.
directly from my system. So what I'm going to do now
All
is
right.
probably I'll quickly join the other link. I'll try to log the group, so I'll be the one to admit everyone in. So from there, I'll try to record the session, so you can just give us a summary of what you've said so far. It's
Okay,
NNPC
no problem.
NNPC. So I can
No
sorry
problem,
join
sir.
the other link. So I'll quickly join the other link so I can.
All right. So, Mr. Emmanuel, sorry for your question. The thing is, everything I've
No,
said now, you
sorry,
can.
excuse me, sir. Sorry. That wasn't
Yes.
Mr. Emmanuel I'm the Mr. Emmanuel. So the other guy that asked the question the other time is not Mr. Emmanuel. I guess that's Mr.
Okay.
Ogunbumi or something.
Okay. So for that question, that where can we find all these things I've said? You can literally find it online. There are a lot of articles about NNPC history and some other things like that. You can get some of this information from Wikipedia, though not as the way I've said it.
Exactly, Wikipedia. Sure.
Chance,
I
you
was
can
not
get
saying
some
that
from
too.
Wikipedia. You can get a lot from some other articles, like journals and articles. So there are a lot of materials online you can get it from. Do you understand? And if you go to ResearchGate, you can get some papers some people wrote about the oil industry, where you see some of these histories there. So you understand? So it is basically online. You have everything online. It's not as if maybe I read it off a textbook or something. So I don't know if that has I've answered your question. So before we leave, we have less than 1 minute. So the last question, please.
Okay, thank you, sir. Actually, I have like 4 questions, but then because of the time, I don't think I have to ask the question right now. Maybe later on, I will ask the question.
Guys, please try to join the other link. Some people are very, very fast. People have already joined the other link without it. I've not been able to lock it.
Okay, please let's join the other link.
Subsidiaries of NNPC. Why is that, sir?
Okay.
Like,
Now,
okay.
if you heard me quite alright, I said in the 1980s, when NNPC was having issues with inefficiencies and some all those things, NNPC as at then was a single entity. You understand? So along the way, they started creating subsidiaries to decentralize the operation and give different companies under it different rules, or let me say different departments. So now, along the way, they keep creating new subsidiaries. You understand? What I did was just give you a summary. Then after the Petroleum Industry Act of 2021, when NNPC became a full-fledged commercial entity in July 2022, a lot of internal changes happened. So part of those internal changes gave birth to some of the subsidiaries we have today. Some of them are old ones retaining its name, like NNPC Engineering and Technical Company was formerly known as Nigerian Engineering and Technical. Is it National Engineering and Technical Company or Nigerian Engineering and Technical Company? I can't remember. But the name changed to NNPC Engineering and Technical Company. Some of them changed their name, just adding NNPC to the front, and some 2 or 3 different subsidiaries came together to form one particular subsidiary. Like we have like NSAF, and some the name just changed. So you understand? And then we had creation of more of more this thing. Now, let me give an example. Like Kaduna KPRC, that's Kaduna Refinery and Petrochemicals Company, Port Harcourt Refinery, Warri Refinery were all different subsidiaries before. But presently now we have them under one subsidiary, which is NNPC RevChem Limited. That's NNPC Refinery and Chemicals Limited. Sure, you understand?
Yes, sir.
So basically, what happened in 2022 with PIA, NNPC becoming a commercial entity, gave birth to some of all these subsidiaries as we know it today. Yeah, Mr. No, I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm trying to record the session.
Okay.
So I've tried to log the group. I've tried to log the group already. But people are very, very fast. Before I even log the group, it's 7 people have joined.
Wow.
So I'm trying to take the record, the screen record. I'm coming. It's loading. Let me just.
No problem. Once it starts, just let me know. I'll give a brief recap.
Okay, people can go ahead and ask. People can go ahead and ask question. You guys can go ahead and ask
Mr.
questions.
Mubarak.
So while
Mubarak Kudu. Mr. Mubarak Kudu, I can see your hand. Do you have a question? Mr. Mubarak, any question? Okay. Lovina Ogundeji, please, do you have a question?
Yes, good evening. I just wanted to mention that the merger that you mentioned on their website, the merger was done between NNOC with Federal Ministry of Mines and Power. That's what is on their website. So I just wanted to mention that.
Okay. I forgot to mention that also. Now the thing is, online you see Mines and Power. In some other articles, you see Ministry of Petroleum and Energy Resources. Do you understand? Though we will still do our own research personally on that part. Sure you get. So, but basically, what I just want to call your mind to is, on 1st of April 1977, NNOC was merging with a federal parastatal to form NNPC. If you use ChatGPT will tell you Mines and Power. If you prompt it in another way, it will still tell you Ministry of Petroleum Resources and Energy Resources. So you understand? But we can do our personal due diligence in that part. But thank you for your observation. So please, do you have any other question before we move on? Is there any other question? Okay. So in light of this, now presently, NNPC is divided into 5 divisions. We have the upstream, we have gas and power, we have new energy, we have downstream, and we have non-energy. I don't know, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So please,
can you recap? Can you recap subsidiary?
Okay. Presently, NNPC has 5 divisions. Now, each division is headed by an EVP, that's Executive Vice President. So now, NNPC has 5 divisions presently. We have upstream, we have gas and power, we have new energy, downstream, and non-energy. So now, under each division, then we have different subsidiaries. Now, for upstream, we have NNPC Exploration and Production Limited. That is 1. We have NNPC Upstream Investment Management Services. That is 2. Then we have NNPC Energy Services Limited. That is 3. 4, we have NNPC Engineering and Technical Company. Now, under gas and power, we have NNPC Gas Infrastructure Company. We have NNPC Gas Marketing Limited. We have NNPC Gas and Power Investment Services. Under New Energy, we just have NNPC New Energy Limited. Now, under downstream, we have NNPC Trading Limited. We have NNPC Retail Limited. We have NNPC Shipping Limited. Then we have NNPC RevChem Limited. Now, this RevChem Limited, that is where you have all the refineries and their petrochemical plants. Now, we have NNPC Downstream Investment Services. We have NNPC Pipelines and Storage Company Limited. We have National Energy Reserve Management Company. Then for non-energy, we have NNPC Non-Energy Investment Services. We have NNPC Foundation Limited. We have NNPC Academy. We have NNPC Properties Limited. We have Health Maintenance Organization. Then lastly, we have Research, Technology, and Innovation. Can you all hear me? Do you all hear what I said?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Although you are too fast, though, we couldn't jot anything. But anyway.
Sir, please, can you go again?
Okay.
We just joined.
Okay, let me go again now in a bit slower. Now, sorry, before I move ahead, before Petroleum Industry Act, the head of NNPC then was called GMD, Group Managing Director. But since July 2022, the NNPC had become a limited liability company. We have what we now call the GCEO. That is the Group Chief Executive Officer. So if you see GMD, it is correct. If you see GCEO, it is correct. The only difference is just that GMD was used pre-PIA. GCEO was used post-CIA. So that is that about that. So now let me go back. I said NNPC have 5 divisions. Now these 5 divisions, we have upstream, gas and power, new energy, downstream, and non-energy. Do we all get that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, under upstream, we have NNPC Exploration and Production Limited. That is number 1. Do we get that?
Yes, sir.
Number 2, we have NNPC Upstream Investment Management Services. Number 3, we have NNPC Energy Services Limited. Number 4, we have NNPC Engineering and Technical Company. Now, under gas and power, we have NNPC Gas Infrastructure Company. We also have NNPC Gas Marketing Limited. Then we have NNPC Gas and Power Investment Services. Then under new energy, we just have NNPC New Energy Limited. Please, are we moving together?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, under downstream, we have NNPC Trading Limited. Then we have NNPC Retail Limited. Then we have NNPC Shipping Limited. Then we have NNPC Ref Chem Limited.
Ref Chem.
Ref Chem, that's REFCHEM. Ref Chem Limited. Then we have NNPC Downstream Investment Services. Then we have NNPC Pipelines and Storage Company Limited. Then we have National Energy Reserve Management Company. Then under non-energy, we have NNPC Non-Energy Investment Services. Then we have NNPC Foundation Limited. Then we have NNPC Academy. Then we have NNPC Properties Limited. Then we have Health Maintenance Organization. Lastly, we have Research, Technology and Innovation. So please, are we all on the same page?
Yes, sir.
So please, thumbs up if we're all on the same page.
Sorry, this last for the non-energy subsidiary you mentioned. After the NNPC Academy, I missed it, the other one.
We have NNPC Properties Limited,
Okay.
Health Maintenance Organization, then Research, Technology and Innovation.
Okay,
All right,
thank
so
you.
Mr. Salaudin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
I've been battling with the recording, so I tried to log the group. Sorry, to log the meeting link. So I have to admit some people in now. So
I'm with you, sir. Hello? Noah? Okay, so please, are we all on the same page?
Yes, sir.
Now, for every company, you have both mission and vision. So now, this one is no magic or anything. You can see it on their website. For NNPC, the vision is to be the dynamic global energy company of choice. You know, I told you with the PIA, the government is trying to position NNPC to compete with other international government-owned company that is acting in as a private entity, just like Saudi Aramco and the likes. So you understand? So now, the vision of NNPC is to be the dynamic global energy company of choice. Now, the mission is to do what? To reliably delivering energy while continuously creating value for all stakeholders. Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
you can
sir.
hear you. What is the mission again?
Mission now, reliably delivering energy while continuously creating value for all stakeholders. Now, NNPC values. NNPC values, we have integrity. 2, we have excellence. Then lastly, we have sustainability. Let me recap on the values. we have integrity, excellence, and sustainability. Now, for everybody that is preparing for the interview, all your answers, especially when they are asking behavioral questions and some other things, try as much as possible to coin your answers along these values. These are values of integrity, excellence, and sustainability. Just an advice, though. So now, NNPC also have what we call a mandate. Now, that mandate is what we have as resilience, efficient, and sustainable. That is different from the values. Their mandate is resilience, efficient, and sustainable. Now, from my own part, I want to ask a question. What is NNPC motto? Huh?
Energy for
I
today,
think it's
energy for
energy for
tomorrow.
today, energy for tomorrow.
Una sure?
Sustainability.
The energy for today, energy for tomorrow.
Okay, well, NNPC's motto is energy for today, energy for tomorrow. So, as we move ahead, now, what caused all this NNPC session we're having today has to do with the refineries we have, all the 3 refineries. Abi, for those that were in the last session. So now, before I move ahead to all the 3 refineries we have, their capacity, how the capacity got to the numbers that we have today, the electricity generating power they have, and so on and so forth. So please, from all we've said earlier, let's try and ask question. If there's any question, please let's try and ask. And also, maybe in the course of this presentation, I might make a mistake or two. I'm only human. I'm not perfect. So please, try as much as possible to also call my attention to it.
Hello, Mr. Salaudin.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You mentioned just the big values of NNPC. I thought they were like
No, they are just
7
3.
or so.
From their website, they are 3. Though on their
Okay, I thought
website,
I saw respect for individual, accountability and transparency and other ones.
on their website, what they have there is just 3. That's why I say we still need to make our own personal research. From what I could get from their website, it's just 3. That is integrity, excellence, and sustainability. Then they had another section that has to do with NNPC mandate, where we have the efficient, reliable, and sustainable. Though all these other ones you've mentioned, probably I did not see. So I'll still do my own due diligence of going back to check.
So, Mr. Salahuddin, you're actually
Thank you.
correct. On the website, they only have 3 values there: integrity, excellence, and sustainability. So you're right.
Okay. But we can still not, apart from that, we will still, that our suggestion too, we still need to go back to check further, because probably they might be, maybe under some of these things they've listed, under these 3 values. But all the same, all these things are just so that we can know how we answer our questions. You understand? In line with their values. So please, any other questions before we move ahead into this section for refineries?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yes. Is there anything like NNPC pillar?
Pillar.
Have you
I have not
sustainability
come
pillar?
across
Sorry.
anything like that. Yes, I think they did a
Oh,
video. They did a video on this, their sustainability stuff like that. I think it's on their Twitter page. If we go there, you see it. But I can't remember everything there. So, but I know they have something on sustainability on their Twitter page. There's a video there actually. So please, we can all go to the
okay.
NNPC Twitter page. You see that there. I'm sure of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So please, any other question?
Yes, please. So, in the bills on it, you said they're headed by I think executive ministers. I just want to be sure that's what you said.
EVP, Executive Vice President.
Okay. Thank you.
In we have what we call GCEO, that's the Group Chief Executive Officer. So each division is now headed by an Executive Vice President.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Much for excellence area that's applied for operational performance. What subsidiary do you think such a person will fit in?
Now, you see, one beautiful thing about NNPC, though I applied as a graduate trainee, but one beautiful thing I know about NNPC is the mode of operation. Now, you said you applied as operational what?
Performance.
Operational performance. Now,
Yeah,
upstream,
operational performance.
okay, be it upstream, be it downstream, be it gas and power, operations are going on overboard. So there are different subsidiaries. You have the investment, the NUIMS in upstream. You have the NGIS in gas and power. You have the NNPC downstream investment services. So there are a lot of things you can actually work with. But now it is not dependent on your work history or your work experience. Will now determine which one is suitably best for you. So you understand? I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. Let's say, for example, now you are more like, okay, who has worked in maybe not for a very long time, blah 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 blah. You can decide to work with NSERF, where they take seismic data, environmental data, and some other to boost the exploration performance, to increase the barrels we are exploring. So you understand? But basically, one thing about it is about determine where you feel like you want to work.
Yeah, so in other words, I'm asking this because I came across the question where they asked, where which of our subsidiaries something would you like to, so this is much better and provide the right person if that question is asked. You get what I'm trying to, so I guess
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, will probably be to on the series and see which one best fits a role.
Definitely. So what I would advise is, it would have been easier for me to explain some of these subsidiaries to my own understanding. But what I would just advise is to go to the NNPC website. You see where we have our businesses on. It's all the files they have. When they'll bring all the subsidiaries they have. And you can do where to click on another page where you see what the subsidiary is all about, what they do, how they to be, their mandate, and all that. That will be your own research.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for the time. Yeah, I have a question. While checking the website's board of directors list and the senior management team list, I saw two different lists. There were some names under the board of the senior management team. Okay. And there were some that had something like non-executive director and some had executive vice president. So is there a difference between non-executive director and vice president?
I said something earlier. I said the divisions are headed by EVP, that's executive vice president. So just take that as one. Now, two is pre-PIA, that Industry Act. NNPC was federal government parastaff, nothing like board of. But you know, when you're operating under CAMA, that is the Civil Allied Matters or something like that. That's Companies and Allied Matters Act of 2010. You understand? You know, I think we're all conversant with what we call CAC. That's corporate something that has to do with registering company and some other things like that. Hello?
Yes, can you, sir?
Yes.
I hear you.
Okay, so this post PIA, that's Petroleum Industry Act, when NNPC became a company, for you to become a company, it means you need to have, and you have to have board of directors. So that is where you have all these non-executive directors coming in and a board director or a board chairman rather. So they are like basically the board where the GCEO, that's Malam Military, is reported in the organogram of companies is a little bit higher, where the CEO or chief executive looks to them and other things like that. So basically that is what that is about. I believe one Petroleum Industry Act or CAMA Act, you understand some of these terminologies. So I'm just trying to break it down as I can. I don't know,
Please, can
but
I
you
say
need to
something?
make your own research about that. Yes, you can.
Based on that, so those non-executive directors and executive directors, so the executive vice president and the main management of the company that reports to the GCEO. So why the GCEO reports to the board chairman and the board itself, to the non-executive directors, to the chairman and the likes. So that's how it is. Because
all right, thank you very much.
The non-executive, those ones do not participate in the day-to-day. All those people in the board, they do not participate in the day-to-day activities of the once executive vice president participates in the day-to-day activities of the business.
Well, that's nice. Thank you very much. So,
So good evening, all.
Good evening, sir.
My question is no. I mean, are we wrong with interview?
For every interview, you need to go with your CV. The amount they will say we should bring is all we don't know. They might say 6, they might say 10, they might say 8, they might say 5. Is left to them. But every interview you are going to, definitely you go with your CV.
Okay. And they are very, very possible that they are going to ask questions based on our CV, right?
Rather, I would say the way you introduce yourself will determine how the questions will go.
Okay.
If you introduce yourself in a certain way that goes in line with your CV, fine. But the best thing is just try as much as possible. Make sure you're able to defend everything in your CV.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's basically my question for now.
All right.
Excuse me, please.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Mr. C. Mike is distracting us, please.
Okay. Please, before we move further, I remember I think 2 days ago we were having a discussion on the group about upstream, downstream, midstream. So let me just, for the benefit of those that were not on the group, take note. People were trying to differentiate between upstream, downstream, and midstream. To my own understanding, has better understanding. When you talk about upstream basically is has to do with exploration and production. Exploration and production. That is what you do is like that. That is basically what happened. Now the midstream, the mid storage and transportation is the raw material. Storage and transportation of crude oil, the raw material. Now the downstream is where we have the refining and marketing. You understand? Refining, retail, whatever. I mean marketing, I'm talking about retail. So because we have the refining, transportation too, and that is finished product of the crude oil that they are exporting. So that's that. Anybody has anything to add? Lastly, before we, and I'm sure if from all this list we've listed, we'll see something we call NNPC Shipping Limited, the NNPC Pipelines and Storage Company Limited. Now, ordinarily, that should pick a question that, okay, if midstream has to do with storage and transportation, why is NNPC, why do you now say NNPC is not involved in midstream? So the reason I'm saying that specifically now, from these NNPC subsidiaries, you will see there's nothing like midstream. But most of all these companies are under downstream, mainly because for NNPC Limited now, its only goal is just for maritime transportation. So you understand, both for the midstream, that's for crude oil, and downstream, finished product. So it's not like it's a fully fledged midstream company. Then for pipelines too, has to do with maybe transportation of some of the gas and all those things like that. Because now let me give you an example now. There are some refineries in the country, natural gas or some of their production. And there are some other companies too, power companies that use natural gas in their production. Now, it's not as if some of these companies take ship to Bonny, back to their production site. Some do it like that, but in the other way, they have what we call pipeline networks. So you understand. And if we're conversant with the news, we have this Nigeria, is it Nigeria Morocco pipeline? This that Buhari wanted to do one time like that. Is it Nigeria Morocco or Nigeria Nigeria? Some NNPC is also involved in. So, but basically, NNPC do not have a full-fledged subsidiary for midstream. So I guess that has answered any question anybody might have in mind about what we're discussing in the group. So if we don't have any other questions, can we move on to the next part? I have to do with the refineries and some other parts of the refineries. Please thumbs up if you don't have any questions so we can move ahead. All right. So, well, we are all aware that NNPC has just 3 refineries. 3 refineries. We have the Port Harcourt refinery. Please, are you with me?
Yes.
Where we here?
So we have the Port Harcourt refinery. Then we have Warri refineries and petrochemicals. Please, let's take note of something. When they put in refinery and petrochemicals, it means that they are not just finding crude oil, they are also processing some what we call petrochemicals. That's another byproduct of crude oil, like polychemical complex. But Warri and Kaduna refinery, what we call a petrochemical complex. So please, let's keep that at the back of our mind. So now let me start with Port Harcourt refinery. From my own research, Port Harcourt refinery was commissioned in 1965 and it was constructed by Shell BP with 12 million pounds as the initial cost of constructing that refinery. Please, can you all hear me?
We can hear you clearly.
Please, can you come again? Okay. Can you please?
I said.
Wait again.
Ashin.
Yes, please.
Okay. I said Port Harcourt Refinery was commissioned in 1965 and it was built with 12 million pounds by Shell BP. Do we have that loud and clear?
Yes, clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, as at 1965, the 12 million pounds only constructed what we know as 60,000 barrels per day. That is the old Port Harcourt refinery, 60,000 barrels per day. Sure you understand? By Shell BP. Now, in 1985, an additional 150,000 barrels per day was constructed with 850 million, making a total of what we have today as 210 barrels per day. So now that has answered the question we had during our last session of 150, 60, and 210. So basically, in 1965, Shell BP constructed a 60,000 barrels per day refining complex with 12 million pounds. Then to expand that particular Port Harcourt refinery, an additional 150,000 barrels per day refining capacity with 850 million naira was built in 1985. So you understand? But now, as we know it, some of these refineries are not working. So in 2021, the federal government gave Technomont SPA, which is an Italian company, was awarded a $1.5 billion contract for repairs and overhauling. So it is as a result of that 2021 contract to Technomont that gave birth to the revival of what we know as Port Harcourt Refinery today. I think the 60,000 barrels per day complex was the one that was revived. Though I'm not sure yet, but I'll still make findings. But basically, Technomont got a $1.5 billion contract to overhaul the whole 210 barrels per day. Sorry, please, can you hear me? Are you with me?
We are with you.
Yeah. So now, for every refinery, they must have what we call a power plant. Now, as far as Port Harcourt Refinery is concerned, Port Harcourt Refinery can generate 16 megawatts of electricity. But because it is using steam turbines, so it can also generate what we have as 480 tons per hour of steam at 42.7 bar. That is a high pressure steam. So they are using steam turbines. So they are using steam to generate electricity. So Port Harcourt Refinery has the capacity to generate 16 megawatts at 480 tons per hour. Is that clear? Are you all with me?
Yes, please.
Okay. So now moving on to Kaduna Refinery and Petrochemicals. Now, Kaduna Refinery was commissioned in 1976 and it was built with $525 million. Now, all these things I'm quoting, you can find them, I think, in the Bureau of Public Enterprise, or so BPE. You can check that online. You get some of these quotations there. So you understand? So I'm getting this directly from the government website. That's Bureau of...
Please, can you come again?
Huh? Hello?
She said, can you try to explain what you've just said? Can you come again?
Okay, I said Kaduna Refinery and Petrochemicals was commissioned in 1976. And this refinery was built with $525 million. Now, Kaduna Refinery, as at 1976, was only built with a capacity of 50,000 barrels per day. Are you getting me? So in 1976, only 50,000 barrels per day was built and commissioned with $525 million. Now, as at 1983, the second train of the refinery of another 50,000 barrels per day The second train was also commissioned with another 50,000 barrels per day, around $586 million, increasing the refining capacity to 100,000 barrels per day as at 1983. Now, in 1986, the first train of 50,000 barrels per day was expanded to 60,000 barrels per day, increasing the total capacity to what we know it today as 110 barrels per day.
Please recall your last statement.
Huh?
Sorry, is this for the Warri or for the Kaduna?
Statement.
For the Kaduna refinery. I'm explaining. Let me come again. What I'm saying is, for Kaduna refinery, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
I said for the Kaduna refinery, if you check online, Kaduna refinery and petrochemicals capacity, they will tell you 110. So you understand? But what me I'm trying to do now is break it down for you to know, to tell you exactly how we have that 110. Can you hear me? So now I said in 1976, the first train of Kaduna refinery was built with 525 million with a 50,000 barrels per day refining capacity. So as of 1976, Kaduna refinery was just 50,000 barrels per day refinery. Then in 1983, the second train of another 50,000 barrels per day was built with 586 million, increasing the total refining capacity of Kaduna refinery to 100,000 barrels per day. Then in 1986, the first train, that first 50,000 barrels per day that they built in 1976 was now expanded to 60,000 barrels per day. Now, if you add that 60,000 barrels per day plus the second 50,000, you have what we have today as the 110 barrels per day refining capacity of Kaduna refinery. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Hello, do you all understand?
Yeah. So what you're saying in essence is that Kaduna refinery the first train in 1976, that's 50,000 barrels per day, was expanded in 1986 to 110. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. Now, Kaduna refinery has the capacity to generate 56 megawatt of electricity with 600 tons per hour of steam. Now, in the same vein, in 2021, Daewoo Engineering and Construction, a South Korean company, was awarded a turnaround maintenance of $740 million for repairs and turnaround maintenance in 2021. Are we together on the same page?
No, please. Which one are you explaining now?
Kaduna refinery.
Okay. Said who? That's why I'm confused.
I said in 2021, Daewoo Engineering and Construction, a South Korean company, was awarded a contract of $740 million to do turnaround maintenance on Kaduna refinery. Are we on the same page?
Yes.
Okay. Now, last one, Warri Refinery and Petrochemicals. Warri Refinery and Petrochemicals was constructed in 1978 at a cost of $478 million at 125 barrels per day refining capacity.
Please come again for the worry.
Warri Refinery and Petrochemicals was commissioned in 1978 at $478 million with a 125,000 barrels per day refining capacity. Do we have that? Are we on the same page?
You said Commission 1976. I thought you said
78, 1978. Are we on the same page?
Please, how many barrels per day?
125,000 barrels per day. Are we on the same page?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it was commissioned in 1978 with a refining capacity of 125,000 barrels. Now, in 1988, the petrochemical complex of Warri Refinery was commissioned with a production capacity of 13,000 million tons per annum of polypropylene and 18,000 million tons per annum of carbon black. Now, polypropylene is like this is they use for plastic and some other things. All these plastic bottles, water bottle, plastic cup, plastic chair, all these things like that, they are all, their raw material is gotten from crude oil, polypropylene.
Please, can you go?
Same page.
Please, can you go again on the petrochemical?
I said in 1988, the petrochemicals complex of Warri Refinery was commissioned with a production capacity of 13,000 million tons per annum of polypropylene and 18,000 million tons per annum of carbon black.
Alright,
Now,
Mr. Salaudin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, sir. So, do you have any page for this? Probably any material on this? If you can just try to take a screenshot so we can send it on the group. What do you think?
They can get it on the BPE website. That is Bureau of.
Okay,
BPE,
you know what?
BPE.
Can you try to send me the link, the direct link, so I will just forward it to the group after the class.
Okay, no problem.
So that will be very easy. So they will find everything there, right?
Yes.
All right.
That's the details of the refineries and their capacities.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, excuse me. Mr. Salodi, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm with you.
I wanted to suggest, just in line with what Charles said, right? Is it possible for you to maybe share this material you have right now so that, to aid this process? People are asking questions all over again because they're trying to take them.
Yeah, I said there's a link.
Okay, let's do it this way. I did a jot down. Of everything I'm telling you now. So maybe I will just snap this place up. Yes, I will scan it and send. Then we can have it in the group instead of jotting.
Exactly. Thank
Please,
you.
not only this part, you can just help us jot everything that you've been saying on.
There are some sensitive information
I'm not in the group.
So, Mr. Okay, Lord Impela, can you hear me?
Yes.
You said you're
I'm
not in the group, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to drop my number now in the comment section. So just reach out to me. So I'll definitely add you on the group. So, Mr. Salaudin, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm with you.
I've been battling with the recording for the past 40 minutes now, but it's active now and it's currently on 27 minutes. You get so. I don't know how you are going to do it. We have 7 more minutes to go. Probably
after we finish this session,
we'll join the last one.
After we finish this session, then the last one, I'll do a recap. Then We'll do a recap and question and answer.
Yeah, thank you very much. Because I noticed people are trying to join and it's really affecting my system. Like I kept adding, I need to add people in.
Okay.
And it's
no
not
problem.
Really encouraging. It's not really encouraging. People are more than 100 trying to join.
All right,
so I have
no
to
problem.
I have to just leave some people outside.
So,
go ahead, please.
For Warri Refinery, the electricity generating capacity is 125 megawatts with 545 tons per hour of steam. Now, also in the same 2021, Saipem SPA, an Italian company, was also awarded a repair contract of $897 million to repair and do a turnaround maintenance in Warri refineries and petrochemicals. So that is just a brief on what we have about refineries. So now, in the next 6 minutes and in the next session, we'll be having what we know as question and answer. So please, the floor is open for questions.
Okay, Mr.
Let's keep it coming. Yeah.
The question
Ms.
I want
Fatima.
to ask is, going through some websites are online, I saw that there are different refineries. You mentioned just 3 refineries. I saw the one of Dangote. Those ones, I didn't know refineries.
Okay. Now, there we have
Dangote, Upper Refinery.
Okay, I'm coming, madam.
Those ones.
We have a lot of refineries in Nigeria. We have Dangote Refinery, we have Aradel Refinery, we have I think there's one again in Akwa Ibom, a modular refinery or so like that. So, and we have the Warri refineries and petrochemicals, the Kaduna Refinery, the Port Harcourt Refinery. But the one we are concerned about presently, you understand, is the one that is under the direct control of NNPC. Or should I say that that is fully owned by NNPC? Should you understand?
Okay, thank you.
Exactly. So, but you see, all these Dangote Refinery, Aradel and co like that, they are private-owned refineries. So very soon we'll be having Boa Refinery, Siemens Refinery, Baker Hughes will be building their own refinery. I think Sterling Oil too is planning to do their own too. A lot of other new refineries are coming up, but basically the ones owned by NNPC is what we are discussing here, which is just 3. The Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna. So please, any other question?
Thank you.
You're welcome, ma.
So, Salaudin, these 3 refineries owned by NNPC, are they all in operation currently?
Currently, we have just Port Harcourt online. The rest are still under maintenance.
Okay.
Or should I say are still under repairs and maintenance. And one thing is, all these refineries we've mentioned, none of them actually operated at full capacity. None of them before they shut down. None of them operated at full capacity. So you understand? But Port Harcourt is online. A train of Port Harcourt is online. Then we have other trains under repairs. So that is why you can see that the petrol price is coming down, because now we have a competition between Dangote Refinery and Port Harcourt Refinery. So you understand? So, and we hope other refineries too will come online very soon, which will be to the benefit of the masses, where we have petrol price continuously coming down. So that is that. Any other question?
Yes, good evening. Mine is not even
Good evening, ma'am.
a question. Yes, thank you so much for the session. Because we have like 3 refineries, the last I heard we have 4. I don't know if
Okay.
you can, yeah, 4. I think we have like 3 in Port Harcourt. We have the new and the old. So I think these are the questions that when they asked us and we said 3, I was not sure. I think it's 4. They have the old, and Port Harcourt they have like 2 refineries, and then they have the Warrior.
Okay. If you were actually following me while we were discussing this, we have KPRC, we have WRPC, and we have PHRC. Now, basically, NNPC has just 3 refineries. Now, Port Harcourt Refinery is not two, it's just one. It just has two different trains. One is 60,000, one is 150,000. But both of them are under Port Harcourt Refinery. And I think they are, I think LMA side, for those staying in Port Harcourt, I think they may know that area very well. So basically, it's just a new train and an old train. And even both of them are still old because none of them was built in 2000s. They were built in the 90s. Sure, you understand? Because the first train of Port Harcourt Refinery, 60,000 barrels per day, was built in 1965. The new one of 150,000 barrels per day was built in 1985. So it's just two trains, one refinery. You know, for example, now, Dangote Refinery now, you know, when they call Dangote Refinery, they say Dangote Refinery is the single largest train refinery in the world, meaning the 650,000 barrels per day refining capacity of Dangote Refinery is done by just one single distillation column, crude distillation column. But when you have something like Port Harcourt Refinery that has two, it means that you have two different distillation column. One has capacity of 60,000, the other had 150,000
Just allow
capacity.
them. This
Yes,
call
sir.
is going to end in the next.
Can you hear me?
I think we should have the recap first. So, question 8.
Okay. All right. On the recap, we have a brief history about what is going on in this country. We have
Just allow them. Please hold
oil
on.
was
It's coming.
okay, sir. Yeah, I'm with you, sir. Please, where we can start, just let me know. Let me just start with a brief history of the oil industry in Nigeria. So, oil was discovered in Nigeria in 1956 in Oloibiri, the present-day Bayelsa State, by Shell Darcy. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, please.
So, oil was discovered in Nigeria in 1956 in Oloibiri, Bayelsa State, by Shell Darcy. In the 1970s, Nigeria made a major shift from its agricultural dependent economy to the oil dependent economy, which gave the rise to the creation of what we know as the Nigerian National Oil Corporation in 1971, when Nigeria also joined OPEC as its 11th member in July 1971. Now, in 1977, April 1st, 1977, a merger between NNOC, which is the Nigerian National Oil Corporation, and a federal parastatal gave birth to what we know as NNPC today. Now, as at 1977, when NNPC was created, NNPC was given the mandate to regulate the oil sector, manage exploration, and also ensuring Nigeria's stakes in joint ventures, JVs, and PSCs, that's production sharing contracts with international oil companies, which we all know as IOCs. Then going further, due to inefficiencies in NNPC, in 1981, NNPC was decentralized and creation of subsidiaries came to life. Now, part of these subsidiaries that were created then in the 1980s, we have the Nigerian Petroleum Exploration and Exploitation Company. We have the Nigerian Petroleum Refining Company, Kaduna, Nigerian Petroleum Refining Company, Warri, Nigerian Petroleum Refining Company, Port Harcourt, the Nigerian Petroleum Products Pipelines and Depot Company. We have the Nigerian Gas Company, the Nigerian Petroleum Marine Transportation Company. We have the Petroleum Research and Engineering Company, and so on and so forth. Then along the line, during its operations, in the 1990s, early 2000s, more subsidiaries were created. Among these subsidiaries, we have the Pipeline and Products Marketing Company, Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, NPDC, the Integrated Data Services Limited, that is the IDSL. Now, all these things I've said are like the history of NNPC pre-Petroleum Industry Act of 2021, that is PIA. In 16th August 2021, President Muhammadu Buhari signed into law Petroleum Industry Act. Now, this Petroleum Industry Act had a lot of impact on both NNPC and Nigerian economy, because according to this act aimed to converting NNPC into a limited liability company, which we know as today as NNPC, or that is Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. Because now this converting NNPCL into a limited liability company means that NNPC is now operating as a private entity with no interference from the government and is not being financed by the government. So meaning that NNPCL objectives have now changed into a profitability and sustainability company. Now, the aim of PIA also is also to place NNPCL in the international league to compete with international oil companies such as Saudi Aramco, Malaysia's Petronas, and so on and so forth. Another major change the PIA brought is the stripping of NNPCL of its regulatory powers. You know, as at 1977, when NNPC was created, it had the power to regulate the oil industry. But with the advent of the PIA, the NNPCL was stripped of that powers with the creation of two regulatory bodies, that is the NUPRC and NMDPRA. NUPRC is the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Corporation. NMDPRA is the Nigerian Midstream Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. So now those two bodies now are now responsible for regulating upstream operations and downstream operations, meaning that henceforth NNPC is now subjected to approvals from both regulatory bodies. So you understand. Now, another change brought by this PIA is the fact that NNPC undergone what we know as a overhauling in its management structure. You know, for example, now before, when you talk about the head of NNPC, you hear what we call the GMD, that's the Group Managing Director. But now we have the GCEO, that's the Group Chief Executive. Now NNPC has what we call the NNPC Board and the likes too. Then another change is that some subsidiaries came together to form a new subsidiary, while some were created. Now, for example, NPDC, that is the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, became the NNPC Exploration and Production Limited. You have Integrated Data Services Limited, IDSL, NNPC Oilfield Services, Frontier Exploration Services, all came together to form the NNPC Energy Services Limited, NSAF. So you understand? So now, after passing this PIA in 2021, a lot of all these changes was going on till around July 2022, when NNPC became a full-fledged limited liability company. Meaning that as from that point, the federal government had no direct impact on NNPC. They are not sponsoring the NNPC, they are not funding the NNPC. NNPC is creating its own money, generating its own funds, and remitting profit. Though the federal government of Nigeria still owns NNPC 100%, with Federal Ministry of Finance having 50% and the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources also having 50%. So it is owned by the federal government, quite true, but it is a private company. So it's not operating as a government parastatal any longer. Now, as I said earlier, now, presently we have around 20 subsidiaries and the RTI, that's Research, Technology and Innovation. Now, basically, NNPC is divided into 5 divisions. That is the upstream, gas and power, new energy, downstream, and non-energy. Now, under upstream, we have NNPC Exploration and Production Limited. We have NNPC Upstream Investment Management Services. We have NNPC Energy Services Limited, and we have NNPC Engineering and Technical Company. That is for the upstream. Now, for gas and power, we have NNPC Gas Infrastructure Company. We have NNPC Gas Marketing Limited. We have NNPC Gas and Power Investment Services. Now, for new energy division, we just have NNPC New Energy Limited. That is all. Now, for downstream, we have NNPC Trading Limited. We have NNPC Retail Limited. Now, NNPC Retail Limited is the one in charge of all these filling stations you are seeing up and down. NNPC filling stations. So now, we have NNPC Shipping Limited. We have NNPC RevChem Limited. Now, NNPC RevChem Limited is now the parent body for all three refineries of NNPC. We have NNPC Downstream Investment Services. We have NNPC Pipelines and Storage Company Limited. We have National Energy Reserve Management Company. Then for the non-energy, we have NNPC Non-Energy Investment Services. We have NNPC Foundation Limited. We have NNPC Academy. We have NNPC Properties Limited, Health Maintenance Organization, and Research Technology and Innovation. Now, NNPC has a vision, and the vision is to be the dynamic global energy company of choice. NNPC also has a mission, and NNPC mission is reliably delivering energy while continuously creating value for all stakeholders. NNPC has its own values, which is integrity, excellence, and sustainability. NNPC has its mandate of resilience, efficient, and sustainable. As we all know, NNPC motto is energy for today, energy for of the recap is we have three refineries: the Port Harcourt Refinery, Kaduna Refinery and Petrochemicals, Warri Refinery and Petrochemicals. Now, Port Harcourt Refinery was built in 1965 with initial refining capacity of 60,000 barrels per day. Then in 1985, a new train of 150,000 barrels per day was built, making the total refining capacity of Port Harcourt Refinery to be 210 barrels per day. And as I said earlier, in 2021, Technomont SPA another 50 barrels per day train was also built. Then in 1986, the first 50,000 barrels per day train that was built was expanded to 60,000 barrels per day, making the total 110 barrels per day refining capacity of Kaduna Refinery. Also in 2021, Daewoo Engineering and Construction, a South Korean firm, was given a contract of $740 million to do turnaround maintenance on Kaduna Refinery. While Warri Refinery and Petrochemicals was commissioned in 1978 with a 105,000 barrels per day refining capacity, and its petrochemical plant was commissioned in 1988 with a production capacity of 13,000 tons per annum polypropylene of carbon black. Also in 2021, Saipem SPA, also an Italian company, was awarded a repair contract of $897 million to overhaul Warri Refinery and Petrochemicals. So this is just a brief of all discussed earlier. So please, now we have questions coming.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good
Please,
evening.
you were talking about the
megawatt electricity refinery.
Okay, but how to have capacity to generate what of electricity? 400 has the power to generate 56 megawatts of electricity and 600 tons per hour of steam, while Warri Refinery has the capacity to generate 125 megawatts of electricity with 545 tons per hour of steam. So I don't know if that has answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
I've got that.
Sorry, please. I would like to ask, the electricity generated in each refinery, is it for the operations for the refinery, or is also being distributed to the national grid?
Basically, whatever the refinery is producing, it is using. Let me put it that way. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yes, that's answered. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, can you repeat the answer again?
Huh? Hello?
Can you repeat the answer you gave me, please?
Okay, now, what I'm saying is, whatever the refinery is generating in electricity is what it is using. So maybe even if there is small remaining, probably it might share to the neighboring communities, but it's not transferring anything to the national grid. Now, we have NNPC Gas and Power Investment Services. Now, this is a subsidiary of NNPC that is tasked with building power plants. Presently we have the Gwagwalada power plant that is being built presently. We have the Meduguri emergency power plant or something like that in Borno, and I think there's another one in Kaduna also. So these are power plants built by NNPC that are transferring electricity to the national grid to aid President Bola Ahmed Tinubu 5,000 megawatt dream. You understand? Now that is a different case. But for these refineries, whatever they are generating is what they are using. So even if there is small remaining, maybe they share to the neighboring communities. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Please, then keep it coming.
Sir, please. You were talking about the website where we can get information. So please, can you come again on the website?
The website, I said you can get it on the you can get it on BPE's website.
Yeah, Mr. Salahuddin, you're going to send me the link, right?
Yeah, I will send you the link.
So,
you know what? Let me
I'll drop
just
it on
send you.
Is on the group? Mrs. Swift, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm on the group.
All right, don't worry. I will definitely drop it on the group. All right, maybe after the class.
I've dropped that of Port Harcourt Refinery for you. Let me see if I can get that of Warri and Kaduna too.
Okay,
All right, sir. Thank you.
Mrs. Salahuddin, are you connecting with two phones?
No, just one. Oh, you're seeing another Salahuddin? Huh?
No.
Maybe another person only bear my son name.
I think it's because voices are echoing.
Huh?
Yeah, it's echoing. I guess technical issue.
Hello, can you hear me? Is it still echoing?
Your own voice is not echoing, but when everybody tries to ask questions, it's echoing.
Outside, yeah.
Okay, my voice is not echoing, right?
Oh, are you on speaker?
No, I'm using earpiece.
Earpiece, right? I just
Someone's
try.
mic is on. That's why. Yusuf, please mute your mic.
So, Mr. Noah, I've sent you all the BPE links to all the 3 refineries. So you can share it. There are more informations. All I did here is just summarize. You have some of the products that is being produced in each of these refineries, such as LPG. That reminds me. Someone was asking a question the other time. I was expecting we should ask the same question here today. Please, can you all hear me?
Yes, sure.
Yes, please.
Now, when you check anything exploration, they will tell you exploration and production of crude oil and gas. Hello.
Okay. Yeah, we too.
Okay. Now they will tell you exploration and production of crude oil and gas. Now someone was now asking that, okay, the gas, so is it what they are getting from the refinery, or how are they getting the gas? Now another question is, if you look at what we are using to cook, if you go to filling station where you want to buy gas, you will see something on the tank. They write LPG. Abi? Now, NNPC is doing advertisement these days that people should come and convert their car to come and be using gas. They say that one is what? CNG. Abi? So now the person was not asking that, okay, what are the difference between these two gases and how will they get them? So now, the explanation is simple, and is this. When we are doing exploration for crude oil, now I don't know if there's any geologist in the house. I know they will understand this better. This is not really my own field, but they will understand better. When we are drilling for crude oil, we want to exploit crude oil. At first, we'll go through the sand crust, the layers of rocks, and all those things. Then from water again, you go down. Then before you hit where the crude oil is, there's something called the gas pocket. You understand? Now, you see that gas pocket is where you have what we call the natural gas. Now, the natural gas is termed a green gas, meaning that it has little to no effect to our ozone layer. That is why they call it a green gas. So you understand? So during the process of exploration, we get what we have, the natural gas. But you cannot use it like that directly. It still needs to go through some processing and some other things before we can actually use it the way we are using it. But basically, what I want you to understand is natural gas is gotten in the upstream. You understand? Directly. It dey our soil. You understand? Now the other one is LPG, known as liquefied petroleum gas. Now liquefied petroleum gas is a mixture of propane and butane, depending on the climate. In colder climate, you have propane. In hotter climate, you have butane. And in some other places, you have the mixture of both. But the proportion might vary. But for us in Nigeria here, basically we have mixture of both propane and butane. Sure, you understand? But in different proportions. Now, the thing is, in the process of refining crude, at the topmost layer of the distillation column is, when they are doing distillation, from our basic science in secondary school, they will tell you different boiling points and all those things like that, blah 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 blah. But at the top, pata of the distillation column, that is where you have your LPG. That is the liquefied petroleum gas. Now that LPG, now me and you take the cook inside house. That is the gas we are using in our homes to cook and do some other things. But the ones they are converting for cars is CNG. That's compressed natural gas. That is the one they get while exploiting for crude oil. You understand? So now we have we know the meaning of both the gases and where they are gotten from. So please, let's keep the question coming. So along the way, if I remember anything again, I'll chip it in before we end this session.
Somebody asked one question, said, can you give an instance?
Okay.
Or is it? Okay. Not you. Right.
Sister Rudin, this This explanation is very detailed, but I think I missed out. You said the natural gas is gotten in the upstream sector.
Yes.
The liquefied petroleum gas and the CNG is gotten from the downstream.
No. Liquefied petroleum gas is gotten in downstream. CNG, which is the natural gas. CNG is after it has been processed, but basically natural gas itself is gotten in upstream.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so please, I can see someone asking a question here that is saying, what are the expected questions to non-engineering graduates? See, basically what we are doing here this night is just sharing knowledge about what we know about NNPC, because questions can come from any angle. You might say you are a non-engineering graduate and they might ask you, okay, how many refineries do we have in NNPC? What are their refining capacities? Because you might be a lawyer and you want to be a company secretary to maybe you be in the company the legal team of one of these refineries, so to say. Sure, you understand? But basically, the thing is, everything we are saying here does not necessarily mean it's going to be an interview question. Please take note. And please don't go and quote me anywhere that I said that they will ask these things in interview. Please and please. We are only sharing knowledge so that should in case questions might come from any angle, from your CV, from how you introduce yourself, from your work experience and all those things, and they might decide to throw you off guard and ask you a question that they deem fit as general knowledge. For example, subsidiaries. For example, the refineries. Which of the refineries is working? Which of them? You understand? So that is why we are having this session this night. So it does not really mean everything we are saying is what is going to come out. So, but so please,
Thank you very much.
let's try and get that.
Let me add one more based on what you said. So good evening everyone. I believe you guys can hear me loud and clear, right? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So basically, in addition to what Mr. Salahuddin said, the only thing I will just add to it is I know we have been trying to prepare for this interview, and for the fact that you guys are trying to show seriousness into it, at least this little preparation can actually make a big difference. Take note of that. And we've been together for like a month now. Like I said before, my network went off, so we've always practiced together, and it has actually benefits other people too. But one thing is, the thing I'll just need to inform you guys is, for those of you who have been trying to make research about NNPC, I would like to just tell you to take note of one thing. Like, try to ask yourself, what is that one thing that you've learned that stand out to you? Like, what have you learned about NNPC that actually stand out to you? But let me put it this way. If I try to answer that question myself, for me, for instance, one of the standout points in my preparation has been NNPC focus on innovation, because recently I tried to visit their page on YouTube. I tried to subscribe to their channel. Then I was trying to watch one video and I feel motivated, and it got me thinking about how my own skills, like the kind of skills I have, how can I implement it? Let's say, for instance, after the interview, if it works out by God's grace, once I get there, I know that I have some skills in me. How can I implement these skills? If you can identify those skills, like what is that unique skills that you have fitting into an NPC vision, I think that's just be the major thing for that interview. I think that will really be the thing that will stand you out from others. Okay, if you can try to identify that unique skills that you can present, because looking at this, we should have already learned our mistake from the exam itself. You have a lot of departments out there, a lot of different faculties. I have some people here, their course of study is law, mass communication, English language, some biology education, different courses. And while we're trying to prepare for the exam, you know, some people are saying you come across physics questions, there's chemistry questions, all those kind of, and at the end of the day, it was just more like a general question. So this same interview, I'm very sure, I don't want you to just take it too serious, but all I can actually tell you is try to look for one unique skills that you have that can actually fit into this NNPC vision. So for me, okay, based on my own skills, I can give you an example. Right from time, I'm good with R programming, LaTeX, Mathematica. Those are the tools that I use most often. And when I was trying to watch that video on YouTube, like, I mean that video that I saw about NNPC, the new innovation that I'm currently working on or something like that. And I was like, okay, based on the skills that I have, based on this R programming, I can analyze data, I can try to predict a particular data. And, if I can get data of several years, I can predict what will happen in the next 2 years, something like that. It might not be accurate, but at least that skills, how can I bring it? How can I contribute it to the company's process? At least, if there's no way I can actually escape that question, because that one is very, very certain. And if they did not ask, though, I'll find my way around the interview process. But one thing is, you must know that unique thing, that unique skills that you have in you, okay, that can actually fit into this NNPC vision. If you can get that unique skills, forget it. You'll not be scared. Okay, what if the first question is tell us about yourself? You can try to narrate, you say one or two things. But the major thing is if you can sell yourself within that minute, forget you have that full mindset that okay, I think this should work out well for me at the end of the day. Get my point. So that's just the only thing I need to add, Mr. Salaudin. So guys, please take notes. I would like you to make your own research on your own. What is that unique skills? So I'm throwing that question to everyone. What is that unique skills that you have that will fit into this NNPC vision? Once you can actually identify that skills, forget you have that confidence to say something once you get there. Get my point. So is that clear to everyone? So guys, am I clear? You guys copy that?
So,
Right, please, just take it. Because I have a lot of people in my DM. I have a lot of people in my DM trying to ask me, okay, I study biology education, I studied this, I studied that. How can I actually fit into an NPC vision? You can just make your research, right? Yeah, everybody have their own skills, right? We are all graduates, right? You have experience higher than too, but at least you can actually sit down on your own and figure it out and see where you can actually fit in, right? So guys, take note of that. So Mr. Salaudin, any
All right,
other
please.
addition?
Uh, Basically, for me, I would just say prepare well. Just like the I said the other time, anything you are putting in your CV, make sure you can defend it.
That is very, very important. Very important.
It's very, very important. I'm not saying you should not lie in your CV. If you lie, tell them you have 25 years experience.
You can lie and defend it.
If you can lie and defend that 25 years, no problem, put it. And even though you have an experience that you've actually worked in, but you cannot defend it, I take God beg you, come out.
Straight up.
See, the thing is, and it might not necessarily be that you cannot defend it. Let me give you an example.
Mr. Salaudin, let's clear it now. People were asking, are we going to come with our CV, blah, blah, blah. I think I sent one screenshot from our previous session now. Like list of things that we are going to come around with. I think the one for the 2019. I posted it on the group, right? So just take note of that so you get prepared ahead.
See, one thing is certain. If you are going for any interview, they will ask you to bring your CV.
Exactly now.
No matter how you want to do it.
During the registration, I think we only filled in our work experience, just 2 work experience, I think. Am I correct? It's allowed, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
During the registration, I think we really filled in 2 work experience, I think.
Yes.
Okay, just take note. I didn't think I can still see the screenshot. I would have listed out again. Let me check if I can still see those things. Like CV is part of it. In fact, 6 copies. I remember. I think it was 6 copies. You have to do 6 copies. So make sure that your CV is intact. Take note. It's not that during the time minute that's when you start looking for who will help you with your CV.
As I said earlier, any experience. Hello.
Yeah, so this is what I think, right? Concerning the CV and expectations of document to go with. I feel like there's still going to be a mail telling us the requirements, things to go with. So,
Yeah, definitely.
and I also do know that things change rather. I mean, this is not the first time. I mean, the setup of the interview or the test rather this time around was quite different from the previous, right? So we can't really be fixated on a particular way things were done previously. We could just hold on and see what the content of the email is. That way, we'll be sure of what we're expected to go with. And if we're going with CVs, like how many CVs we'll be going with. So I just want everyone to be calm about this whole thing and just read through the mail and carefully take note of the requirements as against just going with what has previously been done.
Okay. Thank you very much. Basically, we all know that definitely we'll get new meals. But what we are just trying to say is just to be prepared. See, there's nothing bad in being prepared because you might have a CV you are using before, but if you are not prepared, you take that same CV into an interview, you might most likely flop, even though you can defend everything there, because there are some things that you might have added in your CV that you were not prepared for. Now, imagine someone that did this certification of HSC in school back then in university days. Then all of a sudden they are asking you something related to what that certificate you say you have. You understand? And you're not able to defend it. So what we are just saying is between now and 14th, I think the interview is 14th to 30th. Between now and 14th, try and check your CV, revamp it. If there's anything you want to add, add it. If there's anything you want to remove, remove it. And if you are not adding or removing anything, try as much as possible to understand what you've written there.
So
you understand?
in conclusion to that,
Yeah.
Okay, go on, please.
Sorry. So I do also recall that during the application process, right, there was a field that was provided for us to put in our. Okay, maybe this is quite different from graduate trainee. For me, as an experienced hire, we're asked to impute our work history. Do you understand? So that way, you already have your CV, but you might just need to put it in a template form. Do you understand? But I don't know how the experience hire process is or was. But if you don't have any of that, then you might want to start preparing a CV.
Yeah, definitely for graduate trainees too. We all had to input one or two experiences or
I think
and the likes.
work experience.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, everything is just to be on the safe side. Just to be on the safe side.
Mr. Saudi, let me just list it out. Like the documents that they prepared with I think for 2019. First one was print out of the invitation letter. Take notes. I repeat, print out of the invitation letter. 2, your SSC certificate, first degree certificate. So that SSC should be WAEC, right? Probably
NECO.
I don't know. Yeah.
WAEC or NECO?
Yes, sure. SSC certificate, first degree certificate, or master's degree, and professional certification or membership where necessary. So that's the second thing. Okay, I repeat, print out of your invitation letter. 2, SSC certificate, first degree certificate, master's degree, and professional certificate or membership where necessary. The third one is your NYC certificate. And the fourth one is government recognized death certificate or declaration of age. Okay, and the fifth one, 6 copies of your CV, not more than 5 pages. Clearly stated there, not more than 5 pages. So the sixth one is the national ID card, or probably any government issued means of identification like driver's license, international passport. So those are the 6 rules. Just take notes so they can add more or remove any one from this. Just take note of that. So the issue of having to come with CV, I think that's clear now, right? So is
All
that
right.
clear to
Please,
everyone?
we have people raising their hand. Arafat Ibrahim. Okay. Hello.
Is she muted?
Thank you
Arafat
very
Ibrahim.
much.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much for
Your
the
question.
very amazing session. So I want to ask, like everything you walked us through this evening, how do you think we should learn it? Do you think we should note the years because it's a lot? And how do you think the questions can come during the interview? Do they just ask us the history or something like that? Because it's a lot.
Okay. Let me say this again, just as I've said earlier. The fact that we did everything this night does not mean questions will come in that aspect. What we are doing this night is just to prepare us ahead, should in case questions come from this aspect. If we were to be writing exams now, all this session would have been very, very sweet, because these are aspects where questions can come in during exams. But for interview, there are 2 ways interview usually go. For the lady we have amongst us that is an experienced hire, she can bear me witness with this. For everyone that has done interviews over time, one thing I've noticed is there are 2 ways interview can actually turn out. One is you that they are interviewing will handle the flow of your interview. 2 is the interviewer himself or the panel will determine how your interview will go. But in the first instance, every interview, the person they are interviewing, they give him a blank check. Now, that blank check, you sell yourself to the panel. Now, in the process of selling yourself to the panel, will now determine the next question they will ask. That is basically how interviews usually works. So when they ask you, tell us about yourself. Now, in an event where they don't ask you, tell us about yourself, and they just go straight to a question, definitely the panel wants to handle how your questioning will go. But if they want to give you that opportunity, they ask you, tell us about yourself. Now, in the process of telling them about yourself, you need to sell yourself. Now, whatever you tell them will determine the next question and how your interviews will go. Now, if your introduction is not that sufficient according to them, then they must start asking you questions based on what is on your CV or based on what you've put forth on your CV. So the thing is, you cannot actually predict a question they might ask you or a question they might not. Sure, you understand? But the best bet is whatever you've interviewed, you've said during your introduction or whatever you've put forth in your CV. Sure, you understand? So that is how interviews usually work. So my own advice is whatever we've said this night, just have it at the back of your mind. Should in case, learn it and just walk through it. Don't cram anything. Just do something like a revision to just understand what is going on. Sure, you understand? So with that, then how you do your interviews would God would help us out. Let me put it that way. I don't know if I've answered your question.
You did. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Lord Impela.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So sorry to digress from the matter. I wanted you to, if you want, to give us a short explanation on how crude oil is converted to petrol. Like, I know we can actually read it up, but might be so much technical, especially for some of us that are not really from engineering background. Also, just a short explanation, so that in case we are asked,
Sorry, please. Me, I want to ask, how are you sure I will even know how crude oil is being converted to petrol at the like?
I think it will be there. It will be there. So I should give the right answer to that question, Mr. Salaude.
Okay. Yeah. YouTube is there, but like I was just surprised that what gave him the impression that I would actually know how crude oil is being converted. Lord
You were
Impela.
telling you were into us on the springs and the distillation columns and so on. So I felt like you probably know this what I'm asking. But no problem, I'll just pick it up. Just wanted to say.
Okay. Let me just do something brief. You understand? Let me just do something brief. Basically, after they've done the exploration and whatever they are doing, you understand? Then crude is taken to a refinery. Now, what a refinery does is breaking down of hydro. Oh, we all know that crude oil is hydrocarbon. You know that is our carbon and hydrogen chain. Blah 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 blah. You understand? For those that did chemical engineering, chemistry, and the likes, you understand our organic chemistry and some other things like that. So basically, crude oil is hydrocarbon. So what happens in the refinery is breaking down these hydrocarbons into different subset of that hydrocarbon. So you understand? So now, one of the major thing we have in the refinery is what we call crude distillation unit. Or some people will say, if you check Google, they'll tell you crude distillation tower. You understand? So basically, how this thing works is it separates products of crude oil with its boiling point. So it is the separation technique is by temperature. So you understand? So I'm just trying to break it down to a layman's term where everybody can pick this. So now, basically, they heat up the crude oil, then they pass it into the crude distillation tower or crude distillation unit. Then, in the same way too, the temperature is also increasing. So you understand? Now, the lower temperature, the product with lower temperature goes down. Now the product with higher temperature goes up. You know, I said something the other time. I said you find LPG at the topmost of the tower because it has a very high boiling point. So you understand? So then you have the LPG, you have the kerosene, you have naphtha. Now naphtha is what is now broken down again to get your petrol. So you understand? Kerosene, now you have the normal kerosene and you can further process it to get what we know as jet fuel, which aircraft uses. Now you have the heavy gas oil, you have the light gas oil, and so now the heavy gas oil and the light can also be further processed again to where we get our diesel and the likes like that. So you understand? So these are just how petrol is being broken down. Though there are different units in the refinery that does all this process apart from the crude distillation unit, because in the refinery you have what we have as the crude distillation unit. We have the fluid catalytic cracker, the FCCs. You have the motor spirit block. You have the which one is there again? I'm trying to remember some things. Mild hydrocracking unit where you convert diesel and some other things like that and so on and so forth. So basically that's just like a summary of how the distillation works. But if you go to YouTube, you can see the animation. I would advise when you're watching YouTube, watch the animated version. You will understand better than the human version where they do the because when they're explaining it that way, it is more technical. But when you watch the animated version, it's somehow they break it down that it's so simple for people to understand. So I don't know if I've answered your question, Lord Impela.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Fadlullah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Laudin.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, my question is, during registration, they asked for our work experience. I filled in some. I did them actually, but to defend it because my field is not in that area. I just had to do them during some school holiday period like that. And I feel like in my new CV that I'll be submitting, I should better remove it because I don't want something whereby they will ask me a deep question and I won't be able to manufacture an answer at that point. So
My point of
My point of
confusion is if
confusion
I
is
remove
if I
that
remove that
on my hard
on my
copy
hard
CV,
copy CV,
I don't know if
I
they
don't know if they
will access
will
my
access my
electronic
electronic
my
my
details
details
on their
on their
database.
database.
Would it
Would
not
it
conflict,
not
or would they
conflict,
not
or
ask
would they
me
not
why
ask me
is this
why
not
is
on
this
my
not on
CV?
my CV?
Okay. Please do not quote me because I am not an NNPC staff, or I'm not a NNPC staff. Rather, do not quote me anywhere. This is just an advice, so you can either take it or leave it. Now, one thing is common is whatever
I
thing you
think
put.
I think the
I
best
think
thing
the
is to
best thing
leave
is
it
to
there.
leave it there.
Is it
Is it
recent?
recent?
What?
What?
It is
It is I
I think
think
2022.
2022.
Is it very
Is it very
recent?
recent?
Yeah, one is
Yeah, one is
2022 and one is
2022 and one is
2019. Although
2019.
that
Although
of
that of
If
2019,
it's
I'm
very,
still
very
Very,
familiar
very
recent,
about
you have
it.
to
recent.
you have to leave it. You have to leave it.
If it is very,
You have
very
to leave
recent,
it.
leave it.
You
But
have
if
to
it
leave
is
it.
far away,
Then
you can
you
do
still
away
have
with
hope.
it.
still have hope.
You can just try
You
to
can just
convince
try to
them
convince
that
them
try
that
to put
try to put
the relevant
relevant
experience in your CV.
experience in your CV.
Get that logic,
Get that
right?
logic right.
But if it's
But
very,
if it's
very
very,
recent,
very
you have to
recent,
leave
you have
it.
to leave it.
2022.
2022.
It's still recent.
Still recent.
Okay. How many work
How many
experience do
work
you have after
experience do you
that?
have after that?
I think I
I
have
think I
like
have like
Is it up to three?
three,
If it's up to
three,
three,
up
four.
to three, four.
three, right?
Three, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
three, four.
4.
And that's better.
That's better.
Huh?
Can I just
Can I
crop
just
that out
grab that
on the
out on
physical
the
CV?
physical CV?
What is it?
What is it?
I mean, can
I
I
mean,
just
can I
scrap
just
that
grab
one? I
that
know
phone?
I
I
cannot
know I
defend
cannot
very well.
defend
Can I
very well. Can
just
I just
remove it from the
remove it
CV?
from the CV?
For me, rather, me personally, my own conviction is from all the interviews I've attended, most of the documents we submit online are usually just to grade us and see if we meet the requirement to pass for examinations and all those things like that. But when you are coming for interviews, basically, they interview you based on what is on your CV. The only time they check what you put online has to do with certificates. In a case whereby they tell you to upload WAEC certificate, you cannot upload one WAEC certificate and bring another WAEC certificate for interview. You cannot tell them you have a master's degree online, and when they are telling you to come for interview, you are only bringing bachelor's degree, telling them master's is in view. I don't know if you understand.
Yes.
You cannot tell them you have first class when you are applying. Then when you get to interview, they are seeing your certificate is reading 2-1. Those are like the dangerous aspects that I think they usually focus more on. But when it comes to work experience, they do that basically just to check, are you a good fit for the company? Now the thing is, if you are going to be changing work experience, you need to be technical about it. You understand? Let's say for instance, in my online application, I was putting that, okay, I've worked in NNPC so and so in internship. I worked in Kaduna Refinery as an intern. I've worked in Total and so as intern. I've worked in this as an intern, worked in that. Okay, presently I'm working in Chevron. You understand? In online. Then when it now gets to interview, I'm not removing all these things and telling them I was teaching in Umukoro Dafe Senior High School as a physics teacher. I once worked as a laboratory assistant in one university like that. Those are two completely different things. If you are removing something from your CV, maybe something that is far away, maybe during an internship that you think you cannot remember some of those things again, you can still do that. But anything that has to do with a recent experience, that is one of the things you are using to sell yourself.
That's
So
the
I
major
see
thing.
no.
That's why I said
That's why I said
it's very,
it's
very
very, very
recent.
recent.
It must
So
be
if
there.
it is very, very recent, it is advisable you leave it. Just go and prepare yourself on those things. Read more. You
Okay.
understand?
Okay.
All right.
So I don't know if that has answered your question.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
second
And the
question
second
is,
question is,
if I have
if
the
I have the
skills that I'm
skills
yet to
that I'm yet
complete
to
the
complete
training
the
on,
training on,
although it's
so
about
it's about maybe
90% to be
90% to be
completed, can I
completed. Can I
claim it that
claim it that
I possess
I
those
possess
skills
those skills
if I can
Please,
if I
defend it?
can defend it?
please, to be on the safe side, if you've not been certified for those training, because one thing I know about oil and gas has to do more with certification. if I have a training, okay, let me give you an example. Unlike tech, I can be trained in Python and I can tell you I have skills in Python. Does not necessarily mean I need certifications for Python or MATLAB and some other things. But when it comes to oil and gas, there are some certifications you need. You cannot tell me you have a skill in project management and you are not certified. You don't have any certification to prove that you've gone through project management training. It does not go hand in hand. You cannot tell me you have a skill in safety and you don't have a certificate to back it up that you've undergone training as a safety person. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So it depends. It depends on the skill. There's a difference between project management in view on your CV and claiming you have that thing. So
I
please,
think it's
let's.
not. I think it's not claiming. Am I correct? Fadullah?
What did you say?
Are you trying to claim that you've completed the
I
course
mean,
programs?
the skills are
You're not.
just those
I
skills. I
it's
know a
progress,
lot,
right?
but yet to have the certificates from the training
What skill is
center,
that?
data analytics, data science and analytics.
That is a tech course now. You can claim anything you want about it.
Exactly. That's what I'm
Okay,
trying to say.
actually, I know about it very well, but I don't have the certificates yet.
See, one thing about tech is you don't necessarily need to have certification in as much as you have a skill in it.
Okay, thank you.
But what the reason I'm only digressing into oil and gas is if it is a certification or a skill that is very closely related to oil and gas, please, you need certificate to back it up. That is what I'm just saying. Maybe like health and safety, project management, and the likes.
All right.
But if it is something that has to do with tech, like data analysis, data science, you can claim it because you don't necessarily need certification. It's just about what can you do.
All
So I
right,
don't know if
thank
that
you.
has answered your question.
Next person.
Yeah, well answered.
All right. Chiamaka, Miss Chiamaka, are you online?
Yes, I'm online. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you for the class. I want to ask, are we coming with the original for this certification?
Are you doing
Yeah.
what?
Are we
The
coming with the
original
original?
certificate. You have to see
Well,
the original.
Yes.
most
The
likely,
certificate in order that you are mentioning.
yeah. If you are asked to bring any certificate, most likely you take your original and bring photocopy. They collect photocopy from you, then they confirm your original too. They return the original. That's all.
Not the original. Yeah. Is that clear?
Okay. Yeah. That secondly, I want to ask, is it wise to put in something that is not related to your course? We are in Nigeria and most times after studying doctors, you find out that you'll be doing something else after what you learn. So do you think
Please
it's
come
wise?
again. I can't get you clearly.
Okay, I am asking if it's wise to put a work experience that is not related to what you studied in school.
Okay.
Yes, someone asked in the comment section that she studied microbiology, but she works in the bank. Now, in your work
Okay.
experience with this job, is it wise to put in that you are working with the bank, you know? Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me. Did you get me?
Sister Naudin, you are muted. I tried to mute him. The voice was
Okay.
echoing. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
I'm asking, is the person an experienced hire or a graduate trainee?
A graduate trainee.
Now, for every graduate trainee role, it is assumed you don't have a work experience. So you understand? So, if you have any experience at all, please put it. Whether it's relating to the industry, is not relating to the industry. Basically, what you are telling them is, I have an experience working in a team. I have an experience working with people. You understand? I have had social experience. Maybe in a team you are leading people. You have leadership experience. Those are some of the qualities you possess. You understand? So it's not necessary you have to have experience that has to relate with with the industry. Okay, let me give you an example. Someone that wants to work with NNPC that studied engineering, quite all right. We know engineering is needed in NNPC, but at the same time, everything he has been doing is not necessarily directly related to oil and gas. That does not mean he does not have an experience. He has. Probably what the experience he has might not be relating to oil and gas, but at least he has some experience. And one thing is graduate training, no matter what you do, they will definitely train you again. That is why they call you the graduate training. That is why you're not coming an experienced hire. Experienced hires now, they require you to have necessary experience relating to that industry. But for graduate trainees, you don't. So even if you have experience as a teacher or working in bank or working in other sectors, please put it. Definitely, they will retrain you. So that is that about that. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yes, you have. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, ma'am. The next person, Aura Smith.
Hey, again.
Good evening, ma'am.
So Salaudin, you can try to unmute. I think it's from your end. Good, thank you. All right, you can go ahead. All right.
Oh, okay. So you made mention of the trajectory that NNPC went through. No, like you said, they started from agriculture, right? From agriculture, they transited to oil and gas. And currently, now what we we talked about their motto, oil energy for today, energy for tomorrow. I think that right now what they're doing is energy, right? So I want you to explain, are they still dealing in oil and gas? Because if they transited from agriculture to oil and gas, they're no longer doing agriculture, and now they're going to transit to energy. Are they going to stop doing oil and gas as well? And then I also want you to also explain the petroleum products. What's their products? What do they sell? What do they sell at oil and gas?
Okay, thank you very much. Please let me correct something. NNPC was not involved in agriculture. What I was saying is the Nigerian economy, which was reliant on agriculture, then switched to oil and gas after we discovered oil in Oloibiri. You understand? That was around 1970s. It was the Nigerian economy that was reliant on agriculture that switched to oil and gas. That is one. Two is oil and gas itself is an energy industry. So the fact that NNPC is using energy for today, energy for tomorrow, does not necessarily mean it's leaving oil and gas. Oil and gas itself has to do with energy. It's energy on its own. Because if NEPA bring light, now everybody go shout, up NEPA. But how we generate that electricity or how electricity is being produced has to do with a lot of energy. If we are talking of thermal power, we are talking of hydraulic power. Hydraulic power has to do with the dams. Thermal power has to do with burning of natural gas or burning of diesel and some other things like that. So it's energy. Oil and gas too is energy. But now, when NNPC is talking of energy for tomorrow, they are talking of diversifying into maybe renewable energy, like hydrogen, solar power, and the likes like that. So you understand. So please, what was your next question before I move further?
Oh, sorry. I think I missed that part about the agriculture thing. I'm so sorry about the misunderstanding. And I was asking for the products. What do they sell?
Okay. Basically, NNPC sells crude. That is one. Two is after refining crude. You understand? The byproducts of crude are many. One of the byproducts from the refineries we've said, I think that was Warri Refinery. I think polypropylene is a byproduct of crude. That's for petrochemicals. We have carbon black. We have jet fuel. We have kerosene. We have diesel. We have LPG. We have petrol, which is diesel is automotive gas or AGO. Petrol is PMS, premium motor spirit, and natural gas too. So these are examples of products gotten from from crude oil and the likes. I don't know if I've answered your question, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'll
Get
just
the products from me personally. I think you were so
think you
fast.
were so
I
fast.
couldn't write
I
them
couldn't
down.
write them down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. But I can come again if you want.
Okay, that's
Okay,
fine.
that's fine.
I said upstream, you get crude oil and natural gas for upstream. Now, for after this thing, there is the maintenance. I say maintenance. Sorry, downstream. Now, the downstream is where the crude is being refined. Now, after they refine the crude, you have products like LPG,
Okay.
petrol,
Mm-hmm.
diesel, kerosene, jet fuel, and so on and so forth.
All right, thanks.
No, thanks.
You're welcome. Is there any other question before I move to the next person?
No, that's all
No,
from
that's
me.
all from me.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Adenusi Emmanuel. Mr. Adenusi Emmanuel. Mr. Adenusi Emmanuel, are you online? Okay. Festus. Mr. Festus, are you online?
Yes, I am,
Yes, I
sir.
am, sir.
Okay, please, your question, sir.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
the
so much for
opportunity.
the opportunity.
Yes, I'm a
I'm a
leadership skill.
Please come again.
I said I would love to ask: is leadership a skill? Leadership.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Leadership is a skill.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome. Mr. Abubakar Hamisu.
Please, I
Please,
don't
I
have
don't have
questions. I
questions.
just
I
want
just
to
want
say
to say
something.
something.
There are some
There are some
questions that
questions
we
that
are
we are
using
using
Google. Sorry,
Google. Sorry,
apologies to
apologies to
Odin and
and
Noah.
Noah.
No problem, sir.
Listen, some of these
Some of
questions
these
are
questions are
deriving from
deriving
digital
from digital
questions.
questions.
So some
So
questions
some
that we know
questions
that
that
we
we know
can
that
easily
we can
Google.
easily Google.
Let's
Let's
suspend it.
suspend it.
Okay, thank you for that, sir. So please, any other question? Mr.
Yeah, I have
Shedrack.
question.
Okay, Mr. Adenusi.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, please, your question, sir.
So, So, good evening, good evening, everybody. everybody.
Salaudin, you can mute now.
Uh, Mr. Saladin, good evening as well. My question is very simple and direct. It's concerning the what's called the engineering part. Like actually, I study mechanical engineering, and so I want a specific answer to what kind of questions I'm likely to come across. Just like in my interview, actually, I've worked at what's it called? I worked at Meccano. I currently work in Meccano. Sorry, don't let me say I worked at. I currently work in Meccano at the moment, and I actually applied for GT as well, graduate training. So my question is, aside from what is in my CV, are they going to be asking me questions like define this, what is physics, those kind of what's it called, discipline related questions, like all those.
Nobody knows.
You know what I'm trying to say? All those define thermodynamics, solve for this and that and that. Will they likely ask me that kind of question? So I know where to prepare, where to channel my energy to. And I think that's my question.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. The thing is, nobody knows what kind of questions they will ask you, but it is advisable. It is advisable you prepare some of these course-related questions like laws of thermodynamics, laws of motion, enthalpy, entropy, and the likes. These are some things that are closely related to oil and gas, like thermodynamics, entropy, enthalpy, motions, and all those things like that. So you can actually prepare in that aspect, but does not really mean they would ask you questions from that aspect. They might not. So you understand? Nobody knows. So it's better to prepare. I don't know, Mr. Adenus, if you are interested, just for the benefit of everybody, can we do like a mock interview for you, maybe for the next 2 to 3 minutes, so that everybody can learn one or two things?
Okay, no problem, sir.
Mr. Noah, please, can we go ahead?
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Adenusi, please. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
So please, can you tell me about yourself?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. My name is Denis Abedi Manuel. I graduated from Federal University. It's a 2-1.
Federal University of what?
Oye Ekiti.
Okay.
Ekiti State. So, I graduated with 2-1 in mechanical engineering. I think that's that. So, I had my internship at Lafarge in Ogun State. Where I work with senior engineers with the overhauling, maintenance, and what's called the alternative fuel department as well. So I think I had little experience with turbine engine and turbo machineries, not turbine engine, sorry, turbo machineries, and I also.
You're muted.
Mr. Adenusi, we can't hear you. You're muted. Mr. Emmanuel, you're muted, sir.
Hello, are you there? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
I think I'm having this network issue. Like my network reception here is, I don't know.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
He's muted again.
Hello, Mr. Emmanuel, you are muted again.
Hello, can you hear me now, guys?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So I stopped. I think should I just start again?
No. Please continue. We don't have time. Please continue.
Okay. So I had my intern at Lafarge, where I worked as senior mechanical engineer. So I think I have little experience with turbo machineries there. I think after there I had little experience as well as a machinist at Mercury Mill, Ota, where I actually where we deal with extrusion and of what's called poly products. So I think after I think presently I work at Meccano International, where we troubleshoot, we test run, and then we assemble power engines. Basically all these yoke 50 kV, 100 kV, 200 kV, and the like of it. So I think that is that for now.
So I have one question for you. Based on the experience you've had so far, like what do you think you can actually offer us based on your experience? You've mentioned quite a number of experience, at least with the skills that you have. So what do you think you can actually offer us?
Okay, so